Hello, my name is Lily. I am so happy you are here with me today. I want to share something very special with you. Please listen to the whole story. I promise it will touch your heart and make you think. It might even change the way you see the world. And at the end, if you enjoy it, I would be so grateful if you could like and subscribe. It will mean a lot to me and help me keep sharing more beautiful and meaningful stories with you. So, let me begin. Once, there was a woman named Emma. She lived in a small town with her son Leo. Emma worked hard every day. She worked at a bakery, making bread and cakes. She would wake up early in the morning when the sky was still dark. She would knead the dough with her hands, her fingers tired, but her heart full of love. She wanted Leo to have a good life. Leo was 8 years old. He had big brown eyes and a sweet smile. But Leo had a dream that made him different from the other children in his school. Leo wanted to speak English, like the people he saw on TV. He watched movies where children laughed and talked easily in English. He wanted to do the same, but in his school, they only spoke their local language. When Leo tried to speak English, the other children laughed at him. His words were slow and broken. They told him, "You sound funny." Leo felt shy. His cheeks would turn red and he would stop talking. One day, Leo came home from school. He sat at the kitchen table with a heavy heart. His eyes were full of tears. Emma saw him and asked softly, "What's wrong, my little star?" Leo looked at her with sadness. "Mama, I want to speak English. I want to be smart. I want to travel the world and talk to people, but my words get stuck in my mouth. They laugh at me." Emma knelt beside him. She took his little hand and held it gently. She wiped his tears with her apron and said, "Leo, listen to me. When you were a baby, you didn't know how to walk. You would fall again and again. But did you stop? No. You kept getting up, one step, then another. And one day, you walked without falling. That is how learning works. You must keep trying." Leo looked at her with hope in his eyes. "But Mama, how can I make my brain think in English? My brain only speaks in our language." Emma smiled softly. She stood up and walked over to the bookshelf. She took out an old book. It was a book she used to read when she was young. The book was in English. She sat beside Leo and said, "I will tell you how to make your brain think in English." She placed her hand on her heart and whispered, "First, you must feel it here. You must love the language. Do not be afraid of it. Talk to it like it is your friend. When you see a chair, say in your heart, 'This is a chair.' When you drink water, say, 'I am drinking water.' Even if no one hears you, say it to yourself. Slowly, your brain will start to think in English." Leo's eyes widened. He asked, "But Mama, what if I say it wrong?" Emma kissed his forehead and said, "My sweet boy, making mistakes is how you learn. When you fell while learning to walk, did you get scared? No, you got back up. So do not be afraid of mistakes. They are your teachers." From that day, Leo started speaking to himself in English. When he woke up, he would say, "Good morning, Leo." When he brushed his teeth, he would say, "I am brushing my teeth." When he walked to school, he would say in his heart, "I am walking to school." But still, the children at school laughed at him. One day, during lunch break, Leo sat alone. He opened his lunchbox and saw the bread that his mother had made with love. He thought about giving up. His heart felt heavy. But then, he remembered his mother's words. He touched the bread softly and said in English, "I will not give up." The words felt small and broken, but he still said them. That evening, when he came home, Emma was waiting for him with a surprise. She had saved some money and bought a small radio. She placed it on the table and said, "This is for you, Leo. You can listen to English songs and stories." Leo's eyes filled with tears. He hugged his mother tightly. From that day on, Leo listened to English songs every evening. He didn't understand all the words, but he let the sounds flow into his heart. He would sing along, even if the words were not perfect. His voice grew stronger and more confident. One day, the school announced a speech competition. Leo's teacher said, "If anyone wants to give a speech in English, you are welcome." Leo felt his heart race. He wanted to do it, but he was scared. What if they laughed at him again? He went home and told his mother. Emma knelt beside him and placed her hands on his shoulders. She looked into his eyes and said, "Leo, you have practiced so much. You have listened and spoken in English every day. You are ready. I believe in you." Leo took a deep breath and said, "Okay, Mama, I will do it." That night, Leo practiced in front of the mirror. He spoke slowly and clearly. He made mistakes, but kept going. The day of the competition came. Leo stood on the stage. His hands were shaking. The room was filled with children, parents, and teachers. Leo's heart was beating fast. He closed his eyes for a moment and thought of his mother's face. He remembered the nights she worked late at the bakery to save money. He remembered how she believed in him. He opened his eyes and smiled. He began his speech. His words were simple but clear. He spoke about his dream to travel the world. His voice was strong. His eyes were bright. He spoke from his heart. When he finished, there was silence for a moment, and then the room filled with applause. The children who once laughed at him were now clapping for him. His teacher smiled with pride. Leo ran off the stage and into his mother's arms. Emma held him tightly. She had tears in her eyes. She whispered, "I am so proud of you, my little star." From that day, Leo's life changed. His brain began to think in English more and more. He started helping other children in his school who wanted to learn. He would tell them, "Do not be afraid of mistakes. Mistakes are your teachers." Years later, Leo grew up and became a teacher. He traveled to many countries. He spoke to people in English with confidence, and every time he stood in front of his students, he would smile and say, "I once stood where you are now, afraid, unsure, but I learned one thing. If you believe in yourself and keep going, nothing is impossible." So, my dear friends, this is Leo's story. It is also your story. Do not be afraid of making mistakes. When you practice speaking English, talk to yourself, listen to songs, read books. Let the language become your friend, and one day, your brain will think in English without even trying. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe. It will help me share more beautiful stories with you. And remember, never stop believing in yourself. You are stronger than you think. As time went on, I began to feel a new sense of peace within myself. I had learned to carry Grandma's love with me, but something had shifted inside of me too. I started seeing the world differently. The things I used to overlook, small, quiet moments, became the things that brought me joy. I found comfort in the way the sunlight filtered through the leaves of the trees, or the way the wind moved the grass in the meadow behind our house. One chilly autumn afternoon, I found myself walking along a path I hadn't taken before. The golden leaves scattered along the ground crunched softly beneath my boots. I was lost in thought when I noticed a young woman sitting on a bench by the side of the path. Her eyes were red, and she held a crumpled tissue in her hand. I could feel the sadness coming from her, and something deep inside me urged me to stop. "Are you okay?" I asked softly, sitting down beside her on the bench. She looked up, startled at first, then gave me a small sad smile. "I'm fine," she said, though her voice trembled. I just lost my grandmother." My heart tightened. I had been there. I knew that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of not knowing how to move on when someone you loved so deeply is no longer there. "I'm really sorry," I said gently. "I know how you feel." She sniffled and wiped her eyes. "It's just so hard. She was my best friend. I don't know what to do without her." I sat there quietly for a moment, thinking. I could hear the leaves rustling in the wind, and it reminded me of the times I had spent with Grandma, sitting in silence together, just enjoying the world around us. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my silver locket, feeling its cool surface against my fingers. "My grandma is gone too," I said softly, holding out the locket to her. "But I carry her love with me every day. It's in the little things, like the way the wind feels, or how the sky looks at sunset. She's still with me in everything that's beautiful." The young woman looked down at the locket, her eyes softening. You think they're really still with us, even after they're gone?" I nodded, a quiet smile tugging at my lips. "I do. Love doesn't leave when someone does. It stays in the memories, in the things they loved. It's all around us, if we know how to see it." She sat there for a long while, staring at the locket in her hand, as if contemplating my words. The silence between us wasn't uncomfortable, though. It was peaceful, like we both understood something important, something that didn't need to be said out loud. Finally, she looked up at me with a small, grateful smile. "Thank you. I think I needed to hear that." "You're welcome," I replied softly. Sometimes we just need to be reminded that love never truly leaves. We sat there for a while longer, each of us lost in our own thoughts. The afternoon light began to fade, and the golden hues of the setting sun bathed the world around us in warmth. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, I stood up and offered her a kind smile. "Take care of yourself," I said gently. She nodded, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and peace. "I will, thank you." I watched her walk down the path, her shoulders a little lighter than before, and as I turned to head back home, I realized something important. The more I shared my story, the more I realized that Grandma's love wasn't just meant for me. It was meant to be shared, to spread kindness, hope, and comfort to others who needed it. The next few months were filled with moments like that. People I didn't know, strangers in the park or on the street, would cross my path, and I would share a piece of Grandma's wisdom with them. Sometimes it was a kind word. Other times, it was simply a reminder that love doesn't fade. It stays. It lingers in the smallest of things. The way the wind rustles the leaves, the sound of rain on the roof, the golden light at sunset, and each time I shared that piece of love, I felt more connected to the people around me. I realized that the love Grandma gave me wasn't just something I could hold on to. It was something I could pass on. I had learned from her how to love fully, without hesitation, and how to hold on to that love even when things were hard. One evening, as I sat on the porch watching the stars twinkle in the clear sky, I realized that I no longer felt a deep ache when I thought of Grandma. Instead, I felt a quiet joy, knowing that she had given me everything I needed to keep going. The love she had shared with me wasn't just for me to keep in my heart. It was for me to share with the world, just as she had shared it with me. And so, I decided to live my life with that purpose, to keep sharing her love in every way I could, to offer comfort to those who needed it, to remind people that love never really leaves. It simply changes form, finding new ways to make us feel its presence. One day, as I walked down the street, I saw a small child playing with a ball. The ball bounced off the sidewalk and rolled toward me. The child looked up at me, her eyes wide and innocent. "Can you help me get my ball?" she asked shyly. I smiled and bent down to pick up the ball, handing it back to her. "Of course." And she beamed, her smile bright and pure. "Thank you," she said happily. And in that moment, I realized that this was love too. The simple, kind gestures we share with others. The way a smile can light up someone's day. The way a hand can reach out to help when it's needed most. These were all pieces of the love we carry with us. Pieces of the love that never fades. If you're still with me, I want to thank you for sharing this journey, for being here, for listening, and for letting me share a little bit of my heart with you. If this story has touched your soul, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me bring more stories of love, hope, and kindness into the world. Remember, love is always with us. In the quiet moments, in the soft breezes, and in the people we meet along the way. It's never really gone. It's simply waiting for us to notice. And when we do, It fills our hearts and reminds us that we are never alone.